even though it wasn't written for you. Tell me, how can you stand there with your broken heart, ashamed of playing the fool? One thing can lead to another. It doesn't take any sacrifice. Oh, father and mother, sister and brother, if it feels nice, don't think twice. Just shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will do as I say. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. You can run, but you cannot hide.
Hey everyone, this is another episode of Mindful Mondays with Miracle, and today I have a special guest, our first guest. So I'm going to let him introduce himself and then we will get started. This episode we're talking about anxiety. So yeah, my guest.
Yes, my name is Demitric Otis. Super glad to be here. This is something that's super important to me. This is something that I deal with myself, so I am glad to be here. I'm honored to be here, and let's get started.
Okay, so thank you for being our first guest. Super excited for today. So yeah, like you said, we're going to hop right into it. What is anxiety? Anxiety is intense, persistent worry and fear about everyday situations. It is the most common mental disorder in the US. So it's very serious. A lot of people do suffer from it. So it says women are 2 times more likely to be diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. So ladies, anxiety is something we will experience and something we have to take seriously. So, So some of the symptoms are feeling nervous, irritable, on edge, having increased heart rate, having problems sleeping, and then you feel like you're on edge. You're feeling like you're in doom or panic mode. So you're always just feeling like someone's after you. If you like to jump in, please do. So,
me?
Yes.
Anxiety is something that I like I said, I deal with. I go get help for. It is okay to get help. I get help for anxiety and depression, and I also have sleeping issues and things like that as well. So, and basically feeling like you're about to die almost. Some people's symptoms get as serious as, heart racing, throat closing, slurred speech, all these things that directly tie into how you're feeling. But the good news is that you're actually not going to die. Everything is going to be okay. You just have to calm yourself. Breathing exercises, all these things kind of help kind of control how you're feeling, and they kind of help you lower that anxiety. CBD is also a great thing that that you can look into to kind of help with anxiety as well. Meditation, all these things kind of really help you get a grasp on how you're feeling at that moment.
So you said you suffer with anxiety and depression. So what are some things that calm you down, or what are some of the things that you felt before an attack?
Nervous. Usually the first kind of place. The big part on me, I get really nervous. Hands may start sweating. I may start feeling like I'm trembling a little bit, things like that. And then I'll immediately start noticing that I'm like getting really worried. My mind starts racing. I start thinking of all these different things that can kind of directly play into a reality that may not even be happening at that time. So And like I said, I'll start breathing. If let's say I got a busy day ahead of me and I got 15 tasks that I need to do. Okay, well in my head it sounds like 30. So what I'll do is actually grab a pen and a piece of paper, or I'll go to my phone and my notes, and I'll try to write these things down. I'll put them in chronological order and try to see how exactly do I need to handle this thing. That way I can kind of get in front of it and kind of help with my anxiety the best way that I can.
You also mentioned meditation. So how do you meditate? What are some of the things that you do to calm your nerves and bring you back to it's not that big?
I like to go to be a personal reasons. Usually when I can kind of help in process I'm feeling. My meditation, I'll go to my car, I'll say a prayer. Hey God, I need you to help me out in this time right now. I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling worried. I want you to kind of calm me down. I want you to kind of grasp me and take control of how I'm feeling right now at this time. And then usually from there, I'll probably go and I may go for a drive. So I may hop in my car. I may cut on some music, some R&B, gospel music, whatever I'm feeling at that moment. And I'll just try to ride around and I just try to clear my mind. If none of that works, it may even just go to me just sitting, and trying to process my emotions and how I'm feeling, because guys don't really get that chance to process how they feel and how to navigate how they're feeling at that time. So I may call a loved one, and try to talk to them about how I'm feeling, anything like that to kind of mitigate those issues. What do you do when you're feeling anxious?
Like you said, I definitely go for a car ride. I'll write down my day, and then once I've accomplished something, I check it off. So I'll know that it's actually done. I've actually achieved it. Now we go to the next task, and I have a calendar. I don't just randomly write stuff down. I have a calendar. So Monday, every other Monday, I do Mindful Mondays a Miracle. I study for class. Tuesday, I have class. So I write down everything with the time. So just like you said, just taking control over the thing and making myself remember, hey, you're in control, not the thing. So that grounds me and brings me back.
Yes. That's the number one thing, is understanding that you do have control over it and that you do control how your mind works. You can think negatively and you can choose to think in a negative manner, or you can choose to be positive and think about everything in a positive light. So, what I'm saying, all these things are critical. And if I have a few people that are saying they're having a hard time getting on, is there a way that you can share the link real quick, like maybe tag in it as well, that way we can.
Yes. Give me 30 seconds. I'm about to share it now. But so you were saying guys have a hard time. You have a hard time expressing emotions.
Yes. So growing up, this is really, really big in the male community, especially the male Black community. We're taught as little boys that, boys don't cry. Hey, suck it up. Stop crying. You're tough. You're stronger than this. You don't have time to complain. You don't have time to make excuses. You don't have time to do anything. All you have to do is keep pushing, because at the end of the day, you're the male. You have to provide. And nobody ever actually teaches you how to process these emotions. Older males or women in general, nobody really teaches you how to process these emotions. And it's perfectly fine, because you think that you're okay because you shut your emotions off. A lot of men are really good at that, shutting their emotions off and kind of just saying, whatever, it is what it is. I'm just going to forget about it. And that's great. It allows you to keep moving for the moment. It allows you to momentarily get past everything. But what ends up happening is you kind of take all those burdens on and you kind of hold them in and you kind of lock them in. And what end up happening is once your bucket, it gets too full and you start to overflow, then that's when all the things start happening. You start panicking, you start losing yourself. Now the guy is in the car crying. I know a lot of guys have reached out to me personally. I won't share their names or anything like that, but they've been in the car crying and they don't know what to do because they've already reached that limit. Their bucket is already too full. And what end up happening is they start to spiral out of control. They start losing control, which, by the way, men are 3.5 times more likely to commit suicide than women. So it's a very real thing. Guys feel like they can't talk to anybody. They don't have anybody to turn to. And what end up happening is they kind of bottle it all up until they explode. Well, once they explode, they no longer can hold those emotions in. and the downward spiral from there. So as a man, a Black man especially, I try to do my very best to kind of reach out to these guys, give them a platform to talk, give them an ear to listen to, because sometimes that's all men need to kind of get those things out and kind of be able to process those emotions, because it's like it's new territory. You never had to process how you feel before, you just shut it off. So, that's something really, really dear to me.
So you said before the bucket overflows, for you, how do you get it not to overflow? Like you said, people reach out to you. Who do you reach out to? I know you're not saying any names. What do you do?
Yes, I have friends, my twin brother, Demarcus, my counselor, because again, like I said, it's super critical. If you have something wrong with you, if you have a problem, go get help. Don't bottle it up. Don't hold it in. I'll go to my counselor. I'll tell them what's bothering me, what's going on, and what's the best plan of action for me to kind of move past everything and be able to handle it and process it, whether it's a relationship problem, whether it's a family situation, whatever it is. I try to get ahead of it the best way I can, because holding on to it and balling it up will only make you explode inevitably. Like there is no choice. You can push it off for 2 weeks, you can push it off for a year, but eventually once you cannot take it anymore, you will finally explode. And once you explode, it's kind of hard to come back from. I tell people all the time, don't wait till you're about to walk off that ledge before you go get it. I walked off the ledge personally myself. It's not fun. It's not good. I found myself in my car. I was crying. I was screaming, punching the steering wheel, because I didn't know what to do with my life. I didn't have a plan anymore. I lost control of everything. So help, definitely help. If you got somebody that you can talk to them. Anything that you can do to kind of mitigate those things the best way you can. Even if you just go look up an article on what to do and how to handle anxiety. If you don't want to talk to nobody, if you don't feel comfortable, that's okay. If you feel comfortable, reach out to me, man. My inbox is always open. I'm always available to talk. I'm always there if you need somebody to talk to. I deal with it myself, so I'm not perfect, but I'm gonna give you the best advice that I can, and I'm gonna give you everything that all the tools that I use in order to help me.
Like he said, we're normalizing therapy, and like my shirt says, shout out to my mama. It's okay not to be okay.
It's okay. I promise it's okay to not be okay. More times than none, I'm not okay. People see me, they see me speaking up, they see me be an activist, especially for men's health, and they think that as an activist that I'm always okay. Well, I got news for you. Probably about 60% of the time, I'm not okay. Therapy is something that I use regularly in order to make sure that I am okay and that I can be okay.
You can have therapy and Jesus. You don't have to pick which one. You can have both. Like, you don't have to pick. You can do both. So please take it from two people. I've gone through therapy as well. It's okay not to be okay. And it's okay not to understand how you feel right now. You don't have to know. When people ask, how are you? I don't know, but I don't feel like myself. That's the answer. When people ask, do you need anything? I just need you here. People being there is enough. People's presence is enough. And sometimes you didn't want people to say something. I just want you in my space just to be here. And let people know that. If you want them to say something like, hey, I need your advice, or if you just want a body, a presence, say that as well. Something.
Both of them. I see somebody in the comment that just said you can have therapy and Jesus. Absolutely. You can put Jesus as the God and the head in your life, but he puts these tools on earth for us to use, and it's up to you to utilize them. You can walk off and you can say, no, screw therapy. I'm not doing any of this stuff like that. And that's perfectly fine. You can put it all on God and say, God, take all this away from me. But at the end of the day, if there is therapy and there's an option for you to go get help, man. I get help. I take medicine regularly. I do all these things. I take all these preventative actions to try to make sure that I can navigate my life properly.
And just because you're going to therapy and on medicine doesn't mean you're crazy. It just means you need help. And therapy is a help.
Not that I was going therapy or taking medicine until I just told you there's nothing wrong with me. I'm perfectly fine. I'm 100% in my right mind. I just do these things to make sure that I can stay in my right mind and that I stay on top of these things. That's the reason why I speak out, because it's something that I'm passionate about, because I've been like that. Too many times have I been sitting in my car and I felt like I had nobody, crying and screaming, trying to figure these things out. So like I said, man, it's okay to get help. It's okay to reach out and talk to somebody. It's okay. It's okay not to be okay.
So we're going to talk about 5 different anxiety disorders. So I'm going to list the 5, and then we're going to just go back and forth on these 5. The first one is generalized anxiety disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, panic disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and social anxiety. I feel everyone has heard about those 5, and if it was from a class, a TV show, or something, they've heard about them. So the first one is just generalized anxiety disorder. It's you worry about any and everything, money, health, family, work. You just worry and you don't know why you worry. It's can be small things. It could be nothing, but you worry. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just becomes a problem when it can, like when it just takes over your life. When you worry,
it is a problem, and that's when it needs to be addressed. If you no longer feel like you have control over this thing, that's when you need to go get help. Once you feel like you're losing control, go get help. Pray, and then go get help right after that.
Y'all heard the last part. Get help. Like we can take the thing to God and give it to God, but we have to do the work too. Yes, God is God, but we have to do the work. And therapy is here, medicine's here. Utilize it. You're not crazy. You're not abnormal. You just need a little help, and that's perfectly fine. So.
Absolutely.
Obsessive compulsive disorder. It is not just how you see it on TV where people are moving stuff and fixing stuff. And no, sometimes it's overly washing your hands. Sometimes it's people counting to stay calm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have to do things in a routine. So it's not always what you see on TV, but it is obsessive and it is compulsive. And it's a cycle of things that you just have to do.
Absolutely. And these are things that, again, there's nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you. You just need help. And it's okay to need help. It's nothing wrong with that at all. Get help. If it's there, utilize it. See how you can see what things you can do to mitigate having those feelings, whether it's medicine, whether it's meditation, whatever it is. Try to get help for those things. They help you out a lot.
And everything isn't going to work for everybody. Some people take medicine or fine. Some people can meditate and fine. You have to find out what works for you. So don't be like, well, my friend took medicine. Why am I not better? Everything isn't going to work for everybody. So you have to find out what works for you. So if you can do meditation and be perfectly fine, stick to that. But make sure you figure out what works for you. Don't be in no one else's lane. You stay in your lane and do what you got to do.
Exactly.
Don't look at no one else's car trying to figure out what they're doing. Focus on you and what works for you.
Absolutely.
The next one is panic disorder. This is panic attacks. I feel this is something that occurs a lot in many cultures and people don't know why. And it's okay, but it's just a fear of another panic attack happening. So you have a panic attack because you're fearing having another panic attack. Absolutely. So it's like
it's an ongoing cycle. I remember panic attack. Hey guys, in the comment section, write out what you have, write out your experience with your panic attacks. Mine personally, I remember I was the first real one that I can actually document that I realized I was at a board proceeding for the military. I was super nervous about it. I wanted to pass first time. I heard they failed everybody walking into the thing. So I was like, man, God, I hope I pass this thing. I didn't study as good as I should have. I felt like I could have did more. It was a lot of things that I felt better. So what ended up happening is I got in there. It didn't go anything like how I planned for it, how anybody else told me. They basically switched the entire script up once I walked in, and they gave me a whole thing. It made me panic. I remember my throat closing up. I remember my speech started to slur. I remember my hands starting to sweat. I remember my forehead starting sweating. I remember my knees feeling like they were getting weak. And I was like, man, my chest, I could feel my chest pounding. Like my heart felt like somebody was punching me in my chest. And I was like, man, what is it? Why am I feeling this way like that? And so much so to the point where I almost passed out. And prior to that, I thought panic attacks were completely fake. I thought they were scripted. I thought that was people trying to get out of, an emotionally stressful situation. I was like, you need to learn how to handle that. It's not an excuse. You need to deal with it, until I had to deal with it myself. And then I kept having panic attacks trying to remember what exactly happened during my panic attack. And it wasn't until I got help that I got better for it. So again, get help, man. It's perfectly okay.
Also, know your triggers. People can be triggers. Things can be triggers. If you don't know exactly what your trigger is, listen to your body. Your body tells you when something's wrong, when you feel a little something, if you ain't ate nothing and you know it ain't the BGs and your stomach feeling funny, or you
listen to your body. Your body will tell you everything that you need to know. You just have to listen to it, and you got to understand, hey, this is upsetting me. Hey, this is making me nervous. This is making me tremble. Whatever it is, you need to kind of, if you can get out of that situation and get away from it, that's perfectly fine. If you can't, you need to start doing some type of exercise, whether it's deep breaths, anything that you know that can kind of get you into a better space. That way you can kind of move forward from it, or at least kind of handle it. Knowing your triggers is absolutely essential in order to get better and get the help that you need.
And if people are your triggers, let them know in the kindest way. I can't be around you too long. Like we cool.
They can
but
be
triggering me.
Tell them no. They can be friends, and they can still tell you, hey, no, hey, not today. Hey, it's okay to need space for yourself. It's not okay to be rude to people and be dismissive, but it is okay to not be okay. And to tell people, hey, I'm not okay. Hey, that offended me. Hey, whatever. It's okay. You need to do it in a respectable way. But there is a way to do everything, but you still need to do that, because that's the only way. But you can't charge people for what they don't know. At the end of the day, you cannot charge people for what they don't know. And if they don't know that they're triggering, they may keep doing it unintentionally. Now, if they keep doing it after you have warned them, then that gives you justification to move on about your life however you see fit.
Yes. So we're letting people know all 2021, if you're a trigger, let them know in a very respectful, nice way, and just going about it how you need to go about it.
What are y'all? Put it in the comment section. Let us know what triggers you. What are some of the things that people in your life do that triggers you?
Yes. Please comment so we can know this is a safe space. This is an open space. We're just having a conversation here, guys. So we want to know what triggers you and how do you deal with them. So
absolutely.
While we're waiting on those comments, we will go to number 4, post-traumatic stress disorder, known as PTSD. A lot of people associate PTSD with just military stuff, but it's real world stuff. It's normal stuff. It's you living in a dangerous city, you living in a dangerous household. Anything can cause PTSD. It doesn't have to be military based. Our guest, he is military and, as y'all can see, a Black man. So if you would please discuss both of those aspects, how the military and you just being a Black man in America, how that plays a part.
So seeing people come back from combat zones and seeing them rattled and startled from the deaths that they've seen, seeing things from just from different lenses. Once you're over there and you're in a territory where you can be killed at any given moment, seeing those people come back and seeing them startled for life, having nightmares and all type of things, that's something that a lot of people face, and that's what usually people correlate PTSD with. But also PTSD, multitude of other things. For example, my cousin, she was in a really bad car accident. Well, every time she gets in the car, she gets anxious. Anytime she gets by a semi truck or she feels like she's about to get in a car wreck, she starts having anxiety because she feels like, you know, she could possibly be getting another car wreck. She almost lost her life. And these are all things that are super, super important to know what your triggers are. Knowing these things like that, they're absolutely essential, because when you know them, then you can do something about them. I have, as a Black man, I have PTSD with a lot of different things. Seeing other Black men get killed by police officers is something that is huge. And as a result of it, anytime that I get pulled over, I don't break the law. I don't do anything wrong. I may occasionally speed or something like that, you know, anything along those lines. But I remember me and my brother, Dre Bass, he commented in the comment section earlier, I see you. I never forget, we were riding home. We were in Chattanooga. We were riding through one of the parts of town, and we were sitting in the car, and we saw 2 police officers off to the side, and we were like, hey, man, I was sitting at the light, and I was like, man, what if these guys come over and just randomly pull us over for no reason at all? And I was like, okay, you know, didn't think nothing else about it. Light turned green. We go. I'm taking them home or whatever like that. And as we started pulling up to the house, these cops, they swarm up on the car room. They pull up, vroom, vroom, vroom. And I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, what in the world? Well, immediately I panicked. I see all this death. I see the way police treat black men. I see the way that I've been treated, and I immediately got nervous. I got scared. I started following my protocols that my mom has taught me as a black man, because I actually got protocols on what to do as a black man. I was taught to roll the windows down. I was taught to keep my hand on the steering wheel. I was taught that no matter how angry I get, that I cannot show it, because it may be my last day breathing if I do something that may not be seen as proper, or if I do something that can be considered as a threat. So I remember rolling the windows down and putting my hands on the steering wheel, and we asked the police officers, like, hey, what's going on? The first thing they asked me was, how could I afford the vehicle that I was driving? They didn't ask me, what are we doing? Like, they didn't say I broke a crime or anything like that. They asked me, how could I afford the vehicle that I was driving? I told them, I was like, hey, I'm in the military, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. I just got back from deployment, yada, yada. And they asked me to show my military ID. And I was like, that's not a part of a standard, protocol or anything like that. Why am I being pulled over? Well, then they kind of came on the fly and was like, oh, we pulled you over because your tint is dark or whatever like that. But if you pull me over for my tint being dark, why would you pull me over and then ask me how could I afford the vehicle? It was like they were almost trying to, like, they were like looking for trouble. You know what I'm saying? I was super scared. I was super nervous. I was anxious. I was paranoid. And I was like, man, I don't want to do anything to set these guys off. And these are just small instances of things that have happened in my life that have given me PTSD when it comes to police officers, or when it comes to the military, or anything else like that. So it's super, super critical that you understand that PTSD is not just a military thing. Car wrecks, sexual trauma, childhood abuse, seeing a loved one die, anything like that, all those things can directly play into PTSD.
And with PTSD, even though you might not have went through it, but someone told you, that's still PTSD. With me, when my brother was killed back in 2017, I wasn't there at all, but I heard about it, and I was terrified to go to any type of clubs. All my college friends knew, I'm not going to no club. We can go to a house party, we can go to a kickback, but I'm not going to a club. And I had to go to therapy for that, because I was terrified of the club setting. But I wasn't there. I wasn't at the club with him. I wasn't at the club with my brothers. But me just hearing about it and how dangerous it was scared me. So you don't have to be there. You don't have to physically experience it for it to be PTSD. But if someone tells you an event or a dangerous event, that can cause PTSD as well. So
absolutely.
Out there.
Right in the comments, what do you feel like gives you post-traumatic stress disorder? What are the things that kind of trigger you? Was it a car wreck? Was it a loss of a loved one? Like I said, we're not here to judge you, man. We want to know so we can kind of help you out and kind of, help you navigate it. And like I said, if you want to write me privately or Miracle and let us know these things that are triggering you, let us know, man. Like I said, I'm here to help. I care about you. I want to know if you want me to know, and I can be a listening ear. I can give you advice, anything like that. Let us know in the comment sections what gives you guys, what are you struggling with as far as PTSD is concerned.
Like he said, we care about y'all. We want to make sure everyone's okay. We know we can't fix everyone, but we can listen. We got 2 ears for a reason. Like, some days one are bigger than others. So please, if you need a listening ear, or if you just need an unbiased person, let us know. We're here to listen. We're here to help out. So the last disorder is social anxiety. That, I feel a lot of people go through that and they don't know it. It's just you feeling like all eyes are on you. Everyone's watching. Everyone's just waiting for you to make a mistake, and you just feel overwhelmed, and you're very self-conscious. Like, you're like, what if I do this? What if I fall? What if? It's a lot of what ifs with this.
Walking the stage at graduation. Me right now, knowing that people can see me and I can't see them. That is, I called Miracle about it like 45 minutes. And I was telling her, like, man, I'm when I talk to people, I'm used to being able to see them. I'm not used to talking to people and they can't see me. So this is something that I'm directly dealing with right now as we speak. But again, I've done my breathing exercises. I've done everything that I can to kind of try to take a chill pill and relax. And you realize that it's not that big of a deal. Like, I've been comfortable. The more I talk, the more comfortable that I get. So again, this is something that I'm battling with as we speak right now. I need help. It's okay to need help. It's okay to not be okay. Get help.
He definitely called 45 minutes ago and was like, people can see me, I can't see them. So
I started at 4 o'clock this morning, like, man, I hope I got all the right things to say, because I know it's people that want to hear what I have to say. And I was like, man, I don't want to let these people down. I want these people to know that I'm serious about what I speak on my day-to-day, post on Facebook and everything like that. I want people to know that I'm serious and that I mean what I say. So absolutely, I was extremely, extremely nervous. She was like, it's okay. I'm like, hell, like, it is what it is. Again, these are normal things. You are not crazy because you're dealing with a different type of anxiety, or your anxiety may not, it may not be PTSD, it may be social anxiety, or it may, be this or that. Whatever it is, it still not make you crazy. Get help. It's okay. Go do some research, read up on it, talk to somebody, get it out. Don't hold it in.
You're doing a great job, by the way. Throw that out there. My mom said that, and I was going to second that. Like you said, just because you have anxiety, you're not crazy. If you have any mental disorder, you're not crazy. We have to stop using the word crazy, because that's why people don't get help now. That's why people are scared to go to therapy. I don't want to be labeled as crazy. I don't want to take medicine because I'm crazy. You're not crazy. You need a little help, and that's perfectly fine.
It's okay. Just especially in the Black community, we look at therapy as a means to say somebody is crazy. You're not crazy because you go and get help. Oh, such was at the crazy house. No, you went at the crazy house because you went to go to a therapist to go get help and talk to somebody. You're not crazy for that. It doesn't make you crazy. It doesn't make you senile. It doesn't make you any of those things. You are perfectly fine. You're dealing with what 80 to 90% of the people in America deal with. It's perfectly fine.
Like you said, a lot of people deal with mental disorders and they don't talk about it. And we have to normalize that. We have to take that stigma off of you being crazy, us not talking about it. No, let's talk about it. We are having a real conversation about real life stuff, because some people don't have an outlet and they end up taking their lives. And we don't want that to happen to anybody on this live, anyone, anywhere. So if you need help, we're normalizing therapy. Like,
help. Even if you don't, like I said, Miracle is right here. I'm right here. If you just want to inbox me and just talk about your frustrations, man, I promise you can call my phone. I will give you my phone call. It doesn't matter the time. It doesn't matter the day. I will make time for you. And if I can't immediately do it, either I can get you in contact with somebody that can, or if you give me a little bit, I will make time for it. Like I'm all about mental health, man, because it's so important. It's so critical to how we function. Your mind is your strongest muscle. It's the thing that makes everything operate. When your mind is not in track, your body cannot follow. So please go get help, man. You're not crazy to go give. I just left an appointment today. Like, you're not crazy.
The same way we work out our body, we have to do the mind the same way. So therapy is just exercise for the mind. You're not crazy. It's just, if you want to get more fit, you go to the gym. If you want to make sure your mind is right, you go see a therapist or a counselor. And there's nothing wrong with that. But like you said, I got hours. I got a bedtime. So if you can shoot me a text and say, like, stay up, we can do that. But don't just call me, because I sleep my phone on do not disturb. I'm one of those people. So he might just can stay up all night. That's that military. I got a bed
all night. Need somebody to talk to, man. Do not hesitate to reach out, especially if you're a man. Especially if you're a man, because I know that we do not get that outlet to talk like how we should. I'm trying to normalize this thing. I know a lot of women probably see me like, damn, this dude, he always going to bat for his men. Exactly. Men do not have a voice in speaking up on how they feel when it comes to mental health things. They don't speak out like they should. So it's important. It's super important to me. I try to speak on behalf of all of my brothers. Half of the stuff I don't even deal with, or I used to deal with it and I'm perfectly past it, but I still speak out on it because I care about equality. I care about fairness, and our mental health should all be looked at as the same thing. It shouldn't be no, oh, you're a man, suck it up. If you're having a problem, if something is wrong, you should be able to talk about it and get help. If you got a little boy in your life, a son or, a nephew or whatever like that, stop telling him that he's soft because he's crying. Teach him how to process those emotions. That way he can move on and deal with them the proper way. Don't just send him out into this world lost and confused, because once he explodes or he shuts down, whichever one he decides to do, it's not usually a good thing. It usually ends up being very bad. So please Normalize going to go get help, man. That's a movement. Go get help. Go get help.
And like he said, guys, y'all have feelings. Cry, yell, do something, process those.
Me,
And you're still a man.
I'm 230, man. I cry. Like it's perfectly okay. Like I might break down crying on you. It's okay. Guess what? That doesn't make me less of a man. That doesn't make me a girl, a crybaby, anything like that, man. It's okay. It is okay. You don't have to sit in your car and cry alone every single time. It's a lot of men that do that. It's a lot of men that talk to me about that because they had to do that because they didn't feel like they had an outlet. They didn't feel like their wife would listen. They didn't feel like their mom would listen. Do what you got to. I see somebody said, "Don't punch the wall."
Let's not do that. We're gonna retire that.
Don't punch the walls. I promise that's not a good thing. And once you come back to your senses, it ain't gonna be good. But listen, get help, man. I promise. No, let's normalize this thing. Let's normalize men taking action and doing what they need to do to get the proper help that they need.
That was a lot, but we're gonna move on to some risk factors. This is big. Like we were saying, you have to know your triggers. Here's some risk factors that make you vulnerable to developing an anxiety disorder. Trauma. We talk about that a lot on this show. Trauma can be small, trauma can be big, but you have to know your traumas. You have to deal with your traumas and understand your traumas and not be okay with them, but understand them.
Understand what triggers you. You may not never be okay with it. Understand how to process those emotions, though. Super, super critical. If it's trauma and it's bothering you, figure it out. If you cannot figure it out, if you cannot wrap your head around it, get to a professional that can help you wrap your head around it.
And like he said, with the professional or talking to someone, ask your friends if they are okay for you to dump all this on them. Some people are going through their own stuff and they can't take your weight and theirs. So ask your friend, hey, are you in a good mental space for me to dump right now? And if they say no, don't make them a bad friend.
Right.
It doesn't make them not care about you. They just dealing with their stuff too. So like, okay, understand, love you, and leave it at that. There's not them saying I don't care. It's not them saying do something crazy, but you have to take their feelings into consideration as well as your own. So
absolutely, that's perfect.
Stress build up. That is a risk factor for making you vulnerable to developing an anxiety disorder. It could be a big event. It could be a small event. It can be anything that triggers a lot of anxiety.
Definitely.
Like we were saying, how we write stuff down in calendars and check them off. If you're a busy person, get a calendar. My mama before I went to school, she's like, get a calendar. You're going to need one. I was like, girl, I don't need no calendar. I got the undergrad. I started having tests and meetings.
I got so many alarms. Makes sense. You would probably laugh if you guys really knew how many alarms I set, how many reminders I have and things like that. I have to tell people, like, after a certain point, I have to just tell people, like, hey, remind me, because I got so many reminders and things like that put in place to where I do not panic. Because if I don't do that, then I'll start panicking. I start getting nervous. I start getting, these sweats and all these feelings of doubt and all that stuff like that. And man, you don't want that. You don't want to deal with that.
So if calendars work for you, I do the calendar. He does his phone, but don't get overwhelmed. Don't get too stressed out. But you have to figure out what works for you. Me, I couldn't do the phone. I can do reminders, but I have to physically write down what I have to do and put a time beside it. When I get done, I check it. For him, he can do the phone and reminders and be perfectly fine. You have to do what works for you.
What works for you? Get a journal. Man, listen. Recently, I've started writing my stuff down in a journal. If something is bothering me so bad so I can't wrap my head around it, I'll write it down. I'll see it. I don't write it in every day. I write it in occasionally. But get a journal. Write it out. Like, figure it out some way. Figure out what works for you. If it's listening to smooth jazz when you get overwhelmed and taking a step back, if it's going to eat at your favorite restaurant, whatever it is, figure it out, man. Call your pastor, call your friend. Like I said, don't put no extra stress on them and make sure they okay and they in the right spot. I usually ask my friends, like, hey, can you take your emotions out of it? I don't want to throw nothing else on you. Like, I need you to be, all the way here. If you can't do that, then that's okay. I'm not going to throw anything extra on you. But again, communication is key.
Drugs and alcohol is a risk factor that makes you more vulnerable to developing an anxiety disorder. It can be you using drugs, it can be you misusing drugs, it can be withdrawals. It can cause or worsen anxiety. Like we said a couple weeks ago, drugs don't make anything better. It gets you high for a short time, it gets you drunk, makes you feel good, but those problems are still there. They don't go anywhere.
Go anywhere. You are not getting get drunk. I ain't all the way there. Sometimes I even try it. Again, I'm real here. I'll try to drink my problems away. You know what I'm saying? And it don't work, man. I'm telling you. As soon as you sober up, you remember everything that happened, usually. Unless you just got too wasted. You're still going to remember these things. You're still going to remember everything that you're dealing with and everything like that. Do not rely so much on those drugs. I'm not telling you how to control your life, but what I'm telling you is don't rely on those drugs so much where every time you feel anxious, you feel like you got to smoke. Every time you feel anxious, you feel like you got to drink something. Every time, all those things, like the pastor said, they're temporary. All of those things are temporary. None of those things last forever, and eventually you're going to have to face them. Understand it, learn it, face it.
Drugs, sex, all that does nothing. It makes you forget about them for a little while. But then, like you said, they come back. And the problems are just waiting for you to come down from that high or for you to get sober and be like, hey, you thought I left? Mm-hmm. I'm still here.
I'm here. It's me.
It's me. I was waiting on you. I was waiting on you at the door. So
like, now look, you still stuck. You still on the same path. Now guess what you're trying to do? You're trying to smoke again. I got friends and I love them to death. I won't speak their names. And they try to smoke everything away. And as soon as they become unhigh, they trying to smoke it again. I'm like, bro, eventually you're going to have to face that. I ain't pressuring them. I'm like, hey, listen, I'm just telling them, like, hey, listen, man, eventually you're going to have to face that, man. And guess what? When you face it, I'm here for you. Friends, if you got somebody that's going through something and you do have the space and the capacity to help them out, man. Help them out. I ain't saying pay them $500 or do anything like that. But if you be a listening ear goes so far, bro. It's so many times that me and my brother, we'll just get on the phone and we'll just talk. We might talk about car stuff. And that may be all I need. I might call one of my boys, Jamel, anything like that, just to kind of clear my mind. Anything to kind of clear my mind and kind of, if I'm not ready to process it. And then once I am ready to process it, then guess what? We talk about it. I try to directly talk to the source. Talking to too many people, getting too much advice can be a bad thing. Especially because people are going to relate their own traumas and their own pain. And that's what's going to be used to gauge your advice. So you got to be careful with who you get advice from. You need to get advice from people that are unbiased. Understand it and work with it.
So we have some preventions for you guys. Get help early. If you know anxiety is something you might be dealing with, or if you feel a family member deals with it and you feel you might deal with it as well, get help early. And it's nothing wrong with that. Like we've been saying, we're normalizing therapy. We're normalizing getting help. We're normalizing emotions too. So if you feel that there's certain stuff that just makes you feel on edge, or there's certain people that make you feel on edge, we're getting help early. And if you have to cut people off, let them know, hey, look, I love you, but I got to love you from a distance. We can't vibe like we used to.
Hey, listen, God be with you, but I got to go. It's okay. It is okay to tell people, hey, listen, no, I'm not in that space right now. It's okay to need space. Don't take forever, but it's okay to need space.
Like you said, don't take forever. Don't sit there. If you do need help, if you do need someone to listen, reach out. Don't be embarrassed. This is not oh my gosh, you crazy. Don't touch me. It's a people thing. Mental health is a people thing. It's not a black thing, a white thing, a Hispanic thing. It's a people thing. Everyone goes through stuff. Now, how verbal they are is different. But if you're needing help, get help. Ask. A closed mouth don't get fed. No one can help you if they don't know you're hurting. And hurt people hurt people.
Absolutely.
Staying active. Start back doing activities that you enjoy and make you feel good about yourself. It's all about, like I've said, you got to be your biggest cheerleader. Sometimes people can't cheer you up. Sometimes people can encourage you. So you have to do it. You have to pump into yourself. Do stuff that makes you happy. If it's taking yourself on a date, if it's listening to a podcast, if it's dancing in your room, twerking, whatever makes you happy.
Twerking,
Do it.
real, but do what you need to do, man. It is okay.
You matter. We matter. But we have to make us a priority. Our mental health has to be a priority. And you have to start doing what makes you happy. Stop worrying about other people's opinions. Do what makes you happy. If going on dates by yourself brings you so much joy, do that.
Get that. Make a routine. Make a routine. Get up. Hold yourself accountable. If you are struggling to hold yourself accountable, get somebody else to hold you accountable. I struggle to hold myself accountable at times. Well, my brother does not let me slack. I know if I tell my brother, hey, I'm doing a diet, guess what? He calling me every day. Hey, I'm supposed to be going to the gym at 8:30. He calling me at 8:30 every day. Get up. Time to go to the gym. What you doing? Save it. Get up. Go get your butt out the bed. Get to the gym. Because I know the gym is my safe space. That's my space where I can go and I can kind of clear my head and everything kind of works out for itself. And understand, you don't need anybody's validation. Get your own validation. That's what I'm working with right now. Not needing other people's validation to make me feel worthy or something like that. Understanding my own words and my own self, holding my own self valuable to me, and not looking for somebody else to hold me valuable.
I ams are really important. I am beautiful. I am handsome. I am enough. I am worthy. Pour those things into yourself so you won't want other people's validations. You won't want other people's approval because, you know, I'm cute. I'm pretty. I'm handsome. I'm worthy.
Yeah.
So,
Like, fellas, it's okay to be a catch. It's okay. It is perfectly fine to be a catch. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
and last but not least, enjoy social interactions and caring relationship can lessen your worries. Be around people you enjoy being around. People that make you laugh, people that make you smile, and just getting back to doing what you like to do. For me, everyone knows me. I love my family. My family can change my mood in seconds. If I'm having a day, I'll call everybody. I'll go in the living room, something. Get around people that bring you joy.
It's not okay to be alone for too long. Get around people that make you happy. Call somebody that makes you happy if you can't necessarily be around them. Do something. Like I said, I call my boys and we'll talk about car stuff. If I'm feeling down, if I'm feeling like, you know, the world is kind of beating me down, I call, we talk about our car stuff. We talk about anything. We talk about, what things we used to do in the military. I talk about business adventures because yes, black men, black women, everybody, y'all should be, your friends in your group, your circle, y'all should be talking about business moves to further push yourself along in life. Y'all should not be talking about drama every day. I ain't saying don't talk about drama at all, but y'all should be talking about something that is moving you in a positive direction. Stuff like that will help you ease your worry. Knowing that somebody has your back with your next business idea, knowing that somebody sees, the potential in you, seeing the potential in yourself, all those things matter.
You matter. Those things matter. So guys, can you pray? That's the end of our Mindful Mondays with Miracle tonight. Like we said, it's okay not to be okay. We're normalizing therapy. We're loving ourselves. And we're knowing that we're going to be okay. We got this. We're going to take it one day at a time.
Absolutely. And God, we thank you for this time spent with the community. We thank you for this time spent together, God. We ask you that we at least touched one soul today. If just one soul would reach out, if one soul would go get help and know that everything will be okay, we know that it'll all work out in your favor, God. We ask you that you bless everybody and cover us as we go our separate ways. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. I know that was kind of short notice, but thank you. Bye, everyone.
Well, it was a pleasure being here today, Miracle. I appreciate you inviting me out. I appreciate you giving me a chance to use my voice. It was a super blessing. I enjoyed every moment of it. I knew it wasn't going to be 20 minutes. It's going on almost an hour. Because we reached somebody today, and that's what matters.
Thank you for being my guest. Hopefully we can do this again. About to shoot you a text, though. So, yes, but thank you so much.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one, okay?
Bye, everyone.
You can play the game and you can act out the part, even though it wasn't written for you. Tell me, how can you stand there with your broken heart, ashamed of playing the fool. One thing can lead to another. It doesn't take any sacrifice. Oh, father and mother, sister and brother, if it feels nice,